They won't hear you in the beginning. They'll scroll past your name. They'll talk about everyone else, everyone louder, flashier, more connected. And you'll be there alone in the corner doing reps that nobody sees. No one claps for early mornings. No one records empty gyms. You'll start to wonder if what you're doing even matters. You'll start to question if this grind, this pain, this silence is even worth it. But it is, because silence is where legends are made. Every great name started with a whisper. Great story began when nobody cared, when no one believed, when no one looked, when no one listened. It's the part nobody shows you. The invisible years, those years when the only applause you hear is your own heartbeat. You see, people love results, not the process. They'll cheer for the trophies, but never for the tears. They'll quote your success, but they'll never know the loneliness that built it. Kobe used to say, rest at the end, not in the middle. That wasn't about basketball. That was about life. Because the middle is ugly. The middle is quiet. The middle is pain. And that's where most people quit. But not you. You're still here. You're still showing up when it doesn't make sense. You're still working when it hurts. That's what makes you different. Because most people want recognition. You want results. Most people want comfort. You want change. Most people want to be seen. You want to be remembered. So you keep showing up. No cameras, no likes, no validation, just the work, the repetition, the failure, the obsession. And somewhere deep inside, that quiet starts to change. You begin to hear something, not from the outside, but within. It's your own voice, your own fire whispering, keep going. You realize the crowd isn't coming. Nobody's coming to save you. And maybe that's the best thing that ever happened to you. Because when you stop waiting for applause, you start performing for purpose. When you stop needing their validation, you start chasing your own evolution. And when you finally stop speaking, your work starts talking for you. That's when things shift. Start to move different. You start to breathe discipline. You stop chasing comfort and start chasing greatness. You stop talking about potential and start proving it. They'll still doubt you. They'll still whisper, still say you're doing too much, wanting too much, dreaming too big, and you'll smile because they don't know what obsession feels like. They don't understand what it's like to wake up hungry every day. They don't know what it's like to give your entire self to a vision only you can see. But that's okay. You don't need them to understand. You just need to keep working. Because one day your silence will become the loudest sound in the room. Your work will speak in every direction. Your effort will echo through every door that once shut you out. They won't remember when you started, but they'll never forget what you became. That's the point. You're not here to be noticed. You're here to make noise through action, not words. So keep going. Keep waking up before the world. Keep staying up after it sleeps. Keep moving through pain, through doubt, through fear, because someday all that silence you built will turn into a voice the world can't ignore. And that voice won't be your mouth. It'll be your work, your legacy, your truth. And then one day, it happens. Notices a small spark in the darkness, a whisper in the noise. Someone says, "Who's that?" And for a second, the world looks your way. You feel the eyes. You feel the attention. The same people who once ignored you start repeating your words, watching your moves, wearing your name, and you realize this is what you thought you wanted. But it doesn't feel how you imagined, because once you've built in silence, the noise feels empty. The applause feels temporary. The validation feels small. You've already lived the real fight alone. You've already bled for it, sweated for it, cried for it. No amount of likes or fame can match the nights you spent talking to yourself, asking, is it worth it? Because it was never about being seen. It was about becoming someone worth seeing. The crowd claps for moments, but your work speaks in echoes. It moves through time, through people, through generations. Realize your mission was never to impress. was to impact. You start moving differently. You walk into rooms not looking for attention, but leaving behind energy. You speak less, but your presence says everything. You don't chase numbers anymore. You chase mastery. You don't want to be viral. You want to be vital. And that's the difference. Anyone can chase attention, but very few can earn respect. Respect doesn't come from words or trends or followers. It comes from consistency. The world forgets what it saw, but it never forgets what it felt. And if your work can make someone feel something, that's when you've truly spoken. You start to understand what Kobe meant when he said great things come from hard work and perseverance. No excuses. He didn't mean perfection. He meant repetition. He meant falling in love with boredom. He meant doing it again and again until your craft becomes who you are. You realize that greatness is not built in front of cameras. It's built in the hours you never post. In the early mornings when you hate the alarm but still move. In the late nights when your body's done but your spirit says, one more. In those moments when your mind tells you to stop, but your purpose tells you to continue. That's where your real voice is born, not from praise, not from success, from the war you fight every day within yourself. And every time you win that invisible battle, your work gets louder. It speaks without you saying a word. It moves people without needing explanation. You start seeing it. A stranger messages you, says your work inspired them. A young kid copies your routine. Someone across the world starts chasing their dream because you didn't quit yours. So that's when it hits you. This isn't about you anymore. It never was. You're just a vessel, a messenger for discipline, for faith, for belief. You're the proof that impossible doesn't mean no. It means not yet. Your story becomes someone else's survival guide. Your pain becomes someone else's hope. And suddenly you're not just working, you're speaking. Through every rep, through every step, through every scar you refuse to hide. But don't get comfortable, because greatness dies the moment you stop hungering for more. Kobe never stopped, even when he had 5 rings, even when the world called him a legend. He said, the moment you give up is the moment you let someone else win. And he lived by it. That's why his name echoes in every gym, every court, every dreamer's heartbeat, because his work never stopped talking. So neither can yours. No matter who's watching, no matter who's clapping, no matter who's copying, you stay true to the grind. Because it's not fame that defines you. It's consistency. It's obsession. It's love for the process so deep that even if no one ever sees it again, you'd still do it. That's the Mamba way. And when you carry that spirit, you stop fearing failure. You stop fearing judgment. You stop fearing being alone, because you've already been through that and you survived it. Now you move like a ghost, calm, focused, untouchable. You speak through effort, through example, through excellence. You become that rare kind of person the world listens to without a word, because your work, your grind, your discipline, your evolution has become your voice. And that voice is louder than any speech, any fame, any interview. It's eternal. There comes a moment when you look around and realize the noise doesn't matter anymore. The applause fades, the lights dim, the crowd goes home, but the work stays. You stand there in the quiet, surrounded by what you built, and it hits you. Every ounce of pain, every night you broke yourself just to rebuild again. It all meant something. You gave your soul to something bigger than you, and now that work breathes on its own. That's legacy. Not the trophies, not the records, not the quotes or the highlights. Legacy is when your work continues to talk, even when you don't. It's when someone you've never met feels something because of what you left behind. It's when your discipline becomes a map for someone else's dream. Kobe understood that. He knew greatness wasn't about being remembered. It was about being felt. He didn't need to shout. He didn't need to prove. He just worked until his work became undeniable. And now his voice echoes through time, through every athlete, every dreamer, every kid who whispers Mamba mentality before stepping into their own fight. That's what it means to let your work speak. It's louder than any crowd, stronger than any opinion, and longer lasting than any moment of fame. Because fame dies with attention, but legacy lives through action. And you're still writing yours. Every rep, every sacrifice, every time you choose to grind over comfort, you're building something that will outlive you. It's not about how many people know your name. It's about how many lives your effort will touch. You're not chasing a crown. You're shaping a code. That code says, show up when it's hard, stay when it's boring, focus when it hurts, and love the process, not the praise. Because real success isn't a moment, it's a mindset. It's a lifestyle that whispers, I'll never stop. The truth is, you'll never get full credit for what you do. People will see the final result and call it talent. They'll call it luck. They'll never understand the cost, but you will. You'll remember the pain that no one clapped for. You'll remember the days you had no strength but kept going anyway. You'll remember the silence that forged you. And in that memory, you'll smile. Not because you made it, but because you never gave up when it would have been easy to. You'll realize that the real reward was never the spotlight. It was the transformation, the person you became through the fire. That's what Kobe meant when he said, the most important thing is to try and inspire people so that they can be great in whatever they want to do. Because once you find your greatness, your job isn't to protect it, it's to pass it on. And that's how your voice keeps speaking, through others. Through everyone who saw your discipline and said, if they can, maybe I can too. Through every soul that felt your energy, your focus, your hunger, your work becomes a ripple that never stops moving. That's the truth about legacy. You never really die. Because energy doesn't vanish. It transfers. The fire you build will burn inside someone else long after you're gone. The silence you trained in will become someone's soundtrack for greatness. Your voice will live in their work, and they'll never even realize it came from you. That's how eternity sounds. Not loud, not proud, but constant. A quiet, relentless hum of purpose that never fades. So when you wake up tomorrow, remember this, you don't need to speak. You don't need to prove. You don't need to be seen. You just need to do the work. Do it like it's the only language you know. Do it like every rep is a sentence in your story. Do it like one day your work will be the only thing left to say your name. Because one day, that's exactly what will happen. The world will speak your name through your work. Your silence will become the loudest sound they've ever heard, and your legacy will speak forever